Hello guys, and welcome back to a new video. Recently I have seen Suzume, the movie, and I absolutely adored it, and I really wanted to do some spreads dedicated to the movie. And I also thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about trauma, since the movie also explores that topic. And that is essentially what I want to address in today's video. Journaling with PTSD or complex PTSD. For the sake of an overarching structure of the video, I have divided it into 3 parts. The first one is the impact stage of trauma. The second one would be the stabilization phase. And the third one is the restorative stage. But I want you to keep in mind that any of the tips and tricks I talk about in each of the sections are not exclusive to that stage. So always figure out what helps you the most and combine things, try stuff out, and remember to always check back what feels best for you personally. And obviously I'm not a licensed therapist, so this is just an individual record of what worked for me going through CPTSD and several very traumatic events. And it doesn't mean that it has to work for you, or it has to work for you in the exact same way. So just take from the video whatever you feel might be helpful and do you good. So we're gonna start out with the impact stage, which is when the traumatic event has just recently taken place or is actually still going on currently. I want to start this section off by saying that you don't serve your journal. Your journal is there to serve you. So if you at any point feel like you don't want to keep track of this period of time because you don't want to remember it later on, or it just doesn't feel good whenever you try to journal in whatever way it feels overwhelming, then just take a step back and allow yourself to not journal, to take a break from it all, and trust that it will be coming back at some point when you feel ready. And just really trust in your body's ability to tell you what helps you and what feels good. So if you do decide that you want to journal and that it feels good, there is something that I have taken away from both my experiences with yin yoga and somatic experiencing, and that is that if we allow our bodies to move freely without putting any pressure on them and without expecting something, then it can really help to relax us, to soothe us, and to find back to an equilibrium of some sorts within ourselves. And that our bodies always know what we need deep down if we just listen. So when it comes to journaling, this could look like taking a pen or some colored pencils and just freeing your mind of any expectations or theme that you had in mind for the spread or the journal page, and just to let the pen flow across the pages. You can draw, you can doodle, or you can even just take a bunch of sticker sheets and put all of the stickers in places that your body wants to put them. Maybe create collages out of washi tape, cardboard, anything you can get your hands on. Just make sure you free your mind of any expectations. You are not journaling because you want to have the perfect, most intricate spread that you can share online later. You're just there to give your body a voice. When we go through a traumatic event, we oftentimes experience feelings of helplessness or powerlessness. Sometimes our bodies are unable to move in the way that they want to. And sometimes the situations that we find ourselves in don't allow for our body's ability to touch, to lift, or push, to be helpful in any way. So when you allow your body to move in the way that it naturally wants to, you can give some confidence back to it. You can teach it that it can be there for you. It can do something for you. It can create something beautiful. It can create something that you look at afterwards and that you're proud of. This next bit highly depends on who you are as a person and how you are dealing individually with your trauma, because it's about finding out how you want to use your journal, if at all, going forward. Some people, especially in the impact stage of trauma, don't want to or can't talk or think about the incident at all. And some people do want to kind of vent their emotions out a little bit. It really depends. So if you have been journaling ever since the incident, then you can kind of look back on your records and try to find out how your journaling has changed, if it has changed. For me personally, I saw that I had turned half of my journal into kind of a diary. So there were thought processes all across the page that revolved around my feelings. And then there were also parts where I had just continued to journal as I used to, where I cut out things from magazines or leaflets, and I had taken notes about video games or songs I enjoyed, noted down lyrics, for example. So I saw that while I had to get some of the things out, some of the pent-up emotions, I also felt the desire to kind of continue as I had before, because that held some sort of sense of familiarity and comfort for me. Really take your time and listen to what it is that you need, and take a look at your notes and see whether you want to express your emotions and get some of that stuff out of your system, or whether you just want your journal to be a distraction and a safe space, a place of comfort, and a place where you know what's happening, or if you want to combine those things. The second part would be the stabilization stage. That is the time where you're trying to find your footing. You're still influenced by the emotions and the impact of the initial incident, but you're trying to find strategies and things that make the trauma easier to deal with. Your journal can help you here in several ways. One, if you were lucky enough to have a therapist who accompanies you on your journey, then you can take notes. You can write down sort of the strategies and tips that you work out for flashbacks, for example, or what to do if you're in a really negative headspace. But of course, you can also just write down what you yourself have found out that works for you. For example, you could make a playlist of songs that really soothe you when you're overwhelmed, or maybe a movie that makes you feel really safe because it's familiar and you have good memories attached to it. Another thing that your journal can help you with during this time is seeing improvement. Because sometimes when we're processing trauma, we're stuck in this very dark place that feels hopeless, where things don't seem to improve for us, and trauma can be so debilitating where it leaves very little room for us to enjoy the things that we used to enjoy or take part in our daily activities. And your journal can be a little assistant at pointing you towards the things that do have improved, even if it's just slightly. I have talked about this in the video where I talk about how I journal with a mental and chronic illness, that I like to do spreads where I stick in a little thing that I have brought back from a trip that meant exposing myself to my fears or slightly trying to overcome my trauma. And a personal example would be that when I was really traumatized, I would go to the supermarket again for the first time. And I remember feeling extremely overwhelmed by all of the noises and the many people there. I bought what I had wanted to buy, and then at the cash register, I grabbed a chocolate bar that was new and that I wanted to try. And then back home, I stuck the packaging onto the page. And I remember that I felt so proud because this was kind of a visual for what I had achieved. And looking back on this now, I can see how bad and difficult it was still back then. But now I can go to the supermarket just fine. I could see the improvement across a time span of maybe 1 or 2 years, and I made it a habit to still stick in things from time to time, from visits to the supermarket or when I went to other places, just to make sure that I had a visual for my improvement. And my journal really helped to point me towards the fact that I was getting better, even if it took me a really long time. Another tip that I would like to give is to take up space in your journal. Sometimes we're not lucky. We might not have supportive friends or a supportive family. We might not even have a therapist on our side that guides us, because sometimes we can't afford therapy or we can't see a therapist in a timely manner. I can speak from experience here because oftentimes the waiting times are over 20 months, or they won't even put you on a waiting list because they're this overbooked, and that is not a timely manner in any way. And sometimes it might feel like we're a burden on everyone around us. Sometimes other people might give us the impression that what we carry is too heavy to share. Sometimes we might not feel understood by those around us. We might feel judged. And I want you to know that during those times, your journal is always there for you. And you're allowed to take up as much space in your journal as you need. The last phase that I want to talk about is the restorative stage. And this is kind of the time where you have gotten better at applying the little strategies for if you're in a negative headspace or you're still experiencing flashbacks or anxiety. Maybe you're even trying to expose yourself to your triggers and to heal from what has hurt you. On the one hand, your journal can help to point you towards long-term improvement, because now that more time has passed, you can more easily see the ways that you have improved or that your situation might have improved. And on the other hand, your journal can be a companion if you're trying to expose yourself to triggers or your anxiety. You could write down lists about things that you want to tackle and break them up into manageable steps to really gently confront yourself with your fears or your triggers. And something that really helped me was to bring something back from all of the things that I exposed myself to or the trips that I took. And it doesn't always have to be something that you buy or packaging. You could also take photos if you want to, or if that makes you uncomfortable, you could take leaflets with you, stuff that's free, or if that isn't available or you're in nature, you could maybe take a leaf with you and dry it and stick it into your journal later. And all of that serves as kind of a visual testimony to your improvement and to your healing. I often felt like trauma was robbing me of years of my life, of the ability to enjoy things that I formerly loved doing, and that I wasn't able to show up as much as I used to, especially physically. Recording all of the things I did and sticking in all of those kinds of trophies almost made me see that it wasn't that hopeless. I was making improvements and I was taking back my life slowly but surely. And even if it meant that I wasn't able to stay nearly as long as I used to be able to, or I wasn't able to show up as much or be as physically resilient as I used to be, it still meant something to me, and I firmly believe that you can be proud of yourself. You have been through something that really shook up your life and that has left a mark on you, and every improvement, however small, is such a big step and something that you can be really, really proud of. And your journal can be a little assistant of showing these things to you. I think it's really important that you know that you're not alone in this. Try to be patient and kind to yourself. It sometimes takes a long time to figure out what actually feels good, what you benefit from, and what you want to keep in your life and what you want to toss out. Don't let others pressure you or tell you how much time you need to process your personal experiences and emotions. Know that it's perfectly normal if there are phases where you maybe hate your journal. Maybe you don't want to see all of the entries that you created while you were going through this time. Please know that it's perfectly okay to just start over. If you want to rip out pages, if you want to paint over them in black paint, if you want to vent out your frustration that way, if you want to reinvent yourself, and if you want to start a new journal for that purpose, then you're free to do so. Everything should feel good and like it's serving you, because at the end of the day, you're not there to serve your journal. Your journal is there to serve you and be a companion on this journey. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the spreads that I created and that you were maybe able to relax a little bit, and that some of what I said might be useful to you. I wish you a safe journey, and maybe we'll see each other in my next video. Goodbye.